we're going to talk about a topic that I think a lot of people need to hear. And it's going to go against some of the typical rhetoric that you hear in the marketplace about faking it till you make it. What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another episode of Financial Freedom Fastlane. And remember, the quicker you get to your dream life, the longer you get to live in. I'm your host, George Acheampong. And so I'm super excited about this episode because I got a new sample in, Profit. The Profit collection will be added to the Melanin Money store here soon. So I'm testing out different samples. I have some words on the back as well. So super excited to share that with you guys here shortly. But personally, I am not a fan of the fake it till you make it mentality, the fake it till you make it rhetoric, because of the reasons we're going to share on today's episode. All right, so the first reason why you should not fake it until you make it is because you don't get the enjoyment of celebrating when you actually achieve the milestone. So if everybody else thinks you already get into a bag, already a 6-figure earner, 7-figure earner, big boss, this, that, and the third, when you actually hit the milestone, if you actually hit the milestone, you don't even get to celebrate because you've been fronting like you already had it all figured out and you didn't. And so now once you actually hit it, you got to celebrate in silence because supposedly you were already that person. You were already killing it. You were already doing your thing. But you know that's not the case. So now when you actually hit the milestone, it's kind of anticlimactic because you don't get the luxury of celebrating on something that you already said that you achieved, right? So faking it till you make it robs you of the joy of enjoying the moment when it actually happens, right? So don't let people trick you out your spot and tell you that you gotta appear larger than life or be bigger than you really are before you get there, because then you're robbing yourself of the enjoyment of celebrating. All right, the second reason why I am a big fan of not faking it till you make it is because when you actually are having challenges, right, you have to suffer in silence. The same way you got to celebrate in silence if you actually do get a win because the world already thought you was winning. You have to suffer in silence when you're experiencing challenges. Why? Because let's say you're having a financial challenge, right? Like, well, you told the world that you didn't need help, or you told the world that you were this expert, right? So instead of you being able to get the help that you need to learn something different or to get some financial assistance, you are pigeonholed and can't ask anybody because supposedly you already have those things figured out. So now you're suffering in silence when you could have just been open and transparent and literally probably had plenty of people that would have been willing to help you, but now they can't because you don't want to tell them because you don't want to reveal yourself or show your hand that you actually weren't as far along in your journey as you portrayed to be, right? And that's why people like Cardi B, right? People love them so much because they get to live out loud, right? It's like Cardi B, was on the internet when she had the chipped tooth, when she was on the come up, and people love that, right? They get to see your come up journey. And so no one's really judging you for your evolution per se, because you never proclaim to have it all figured out. Versus if you act like you're already on a pedestal, you could do no wrong, you're already getting to the multi 6 and 7 figures, right? When and if you experience some financial challenges, or the challenges that you're experiencing are not in alignment with where you should be based upon how you portrayed yourself, now you put yourself in a situation where you're literally suffering in silence. Not to mention, you probably have people pulling on you and have certain expectations that align with the person that you're portraying, which is then exacerbating the problem. I always have trouble saying that word. Exacerbating, is that how you say it? The problem because, well, shoot, you big dog, right? Like, what I'm asking you for surely can't be a big deal, but it is because you didn't have it to begin with, and you really ain't got it right now. So do yourself a favor. Remember, it ain't no future in front, and family. Like, it's okay. On the first of the month, nobody's sending you no money. So why do you feel the need to try to impress people that you barely even know, who you barely even like, right? For what? For what reason? Just so that you can suffer in silence, right? And not be able to truly celebrate when you actually have a win. That is not the move. That is not the wave. The other reason why there is no reason to fake it till you make it is because now you walk around with these silent contracts with people. And I kind of said this a little bit in my last point. But basically the concept here is, again, people don't know that you're actually not in the position that you are, that you don't know what you portray that you know. And so the demands that they're placing on you are based upon the image, right, that you're portraying. And if you judge a fish by his or her ability to climb a tree, then it's probably not going to be that successful. But they think that you are George of the Jungle, right? So when they ask you to go climb here and get this, like, surely this is like child's play for them. But in all actuality, right, like, you don't know how to do that, or you're not on that level. And then you're secretly mad at them for the demands that they're placing on you when they only have that expectation based upon what you portrayed, right? So you're walking around with these silent and hidden contracts with people, all because you wanted to have something or display the image of having something too prematurely, and now you're suffering in silence, right? Speaking of which, another way of fronting, right, is when you actually, something like, there's two levels of fronting with the internet. Fronting level number one is you don't have it at all, and maybe you rent the Lambo that you couldn't afford. There's nothing wrong with renting a car that you can afford, right? Some people go out of town and they rent Hondas. Some people go out of town and they rent exotics. So there's nothing wrong with that. But if you're doing it for the sole purpose of portraying an image, different story, if you can't actually afford it. So fronting level number one is you are just like literally giving the image or the perception that you got something, and you literally tangibly don't have it, right? That's like the worst level of front. Like, you standing in front of the car, like, yo, take this picture of me real quick, man, in front of somebody else's Rolls Royce. That's front level one, right? Or front level 10,000. But the other level of fronting is when you actually bought the house that you can't afford. You bought the car that you can't afford, and you're hoping that you're going to get to a position to where you're not as stressed. So now you really, like, this is probably worse than the other version of fronting, because now, even though you are in possession of it, like, you are really financially stretched, and it's hard for you to keep up. And now you're feeling this pressure and this anxiety with propping up this lifestyle that you can't afford, right? And that is, I mean, I don't know which one is more prevalent nowadays between filtering the fake bodies and standing in front of the cars you don't own or the jets you don't own. I don't know which one is more prevalent, but neither one is good. But putting yourself in a situation where you're on the hook every month for expenses that you can't really afford, I would argue to say that's worse than the one-time person who's standing in front of the PJ they don't own or holding their homie's bag. Me and Carter was joking when we were in Atlanta the other week. Like, you got the homie that, like, let me just hold your bag real quick, acting like they're doing you a favor, but in actuality, they want to do the Instagram post showing them holding the Louis V bag. Super corny. But anyway, the moral of the story is, like, you're robbing yourself from truly enjoying it, even if you go ahead and buy it prematurely, because now you're stressed. You can't enjoy it. You're moving money around to make the car payment. Like, it's just silly, y'all. At the end of the day, no one is sending you no money, right? People don't care as much as you think they care. And even if they do, why do you want to be validated from people that, truth be told, they're probably not even valid? And the last reason why I'm a big believer that you should not fake it till you make it is, like, when we watch the movies, as I said earlier, like, everybody likes that come up story, right? So when you are fronting, it's impossible to invite people along the journey of your come up because you are not being transparent about who you are, right? When you're fronting about where you are, you can't be transparent about where you are, and it doesn't give people that opportunity to see your evolution. Oh, you already had it all figured out. You've been big dog forever, right? You never needed help. You never was down on your luck. You never, you know what I'm saying? Like, so you rob your community and the people that look up to you the opportunity to see your ascension, support your ascension, right? Remember where you came from to see, like, how much you've evolved and grown, right? So I'm telling y'all, that's why, like, even these videos, I know these are decent quality, right? Like, our podcast for the Melanin Money Show are pretty high production value at this point. But, like, some of these videos, a lot of these videos, I'm just sitting in front of my laptop because that's just the reality of, like, the dynamic and the timing of what I have the ability to do for this show and be consistent. But I know this show is going to evolve. I know everything that I've done in my life is going to evolve and has evolved, right? And what makes it sweeter is when people can see that come up journey, because that's what makes it tangible for people. If you come out the gate swinging, right, and like you got it all figured out from day one, that seems a little bit untangible for people. But when they can see, like somebody commented on one of our videos from InvestFest the other week, they were like, man, a lot can happen in a year. Because just the year before, yeah, sure, we had a videographer. Sure, we had a booth. Sure, we was in Atlanta. But it wasn't like this go round, right? The brand has evolved. We have evolved. And next year, I can only imagine where we're going to be 365 days from now, right? So don't rob yourself of the enjoyment and the fulfillment that comes from being able to be transparent about your journey. And don't rob other people who want to support that evolution, and don't put that unnecessary stress and pressure on yourself to impress people, right? That at the end of the day, they got their own stuff going on anyway, and you'll probably be more relatable and have a deeper connection with your audience if you just keep it real. So remember, there's no future in fronting. Be yourself, be transparent, let people know who you are and where you are, and those that rock with you will, and those that don't, forget about them. Until next time, guys, peace. Remember, freedom is for sale if you're willing to pay the price. Peace.